Imagine standing at the edge of a cliff, the ground beneath you shaking, and a storm raging above. That's what my life felt like at one point, raw, uncertain, and terrifying. But here's the twist: that cliff wasn't the end. It was the start of a climb I never thought I could make. Today, I'm here to tell you about the moments that broke me, bent me, but never let me shatter. If you've ever felt lost, stuck, or unsure of your path, this talk isn't just my story, it's yours. Because struggles don't define us, how we rise does. Imagine standing at the edge of a cliff, the wind howling around you, the storm clouds gathering above, and the ground beneath you crumbling with every passing second. Your heart pounds, fear grips you, and every instinct screams to retreat. But something deeper urges you to stay, to face the storm, to find a way forward. That's how life felt for me in my darkest moments. I want to take you back to a time when everything seemed impossible. Picture a young person, uncertain and overwhelmed and questioning everything. That person was me. The world felt heavy and I was at a breaking point. I remember a specific day, one that changed my life forever. It started like any other, but little did I know it would throw me into the kind of turmoil that can either destroy you or transform you. That day I encountered a challenge so immense that it stripped away my confidence, my sense of control, and even my hope. I won't lie to you, it was terrifying. I felt like the universe had conspired against me and the weight of it was unbearable. I wanted to give up, to retreat to a safe corner where I could hide from the pain. But then something shifted. In the middle of that overwhelming fear and uncertainty, I had a realization. This moment, as dark and painful as it had a purpose. It wasn't there to end me, it was there to teach me something I couldn't learn any other way. This wasn't just a cliff to fall from, it was a mountain to climb. I decided to take one step forward. It wasn't heroic or grand, it was shaky and hesitant. But with each step, I discovered something remarkable. The very act of facing my fear, of choosing to move despite the storm, began to change me. I learned that courage isn't the absence of fear, it's moving forward in the face of it. That day didn't make my struggles disappear. In fact, the road ahead was filled with more challenges, more storms. But I began to see those storms differently. They weren't just obstacles, they were opportunities to grow, to discover resilience I never knew I had, and to emerge stronger than before. So why am I telling you this story? Because I know that every single one of you has faced or will face moments like this. Moments that test you, that push you to your limits, and that make you question whether you can go on. My message to you is this: don't run from the storm. Don't fear the edge of the cliff. Those moments of struggle are the very moments that will shape you, refine you, and prepare you for something greater. If you're standing at your own edge today, take heart. One step forward can change everything. And I promise you, when you look back, you'll see that the cliff wasn't the end. It was the beginning of your climb. We all face struggles in life, but one thing unites us: the way challenges make us feel. When hardship strikes, it's easy to feel isolated, as if no one else could possibly understand the pain, fear, or uncertainty we're going through. But the truth is, every person in this room has their battles. While our circumstances may differ, the emotional toll, the heartbreak, frustration, and doubt is something we all share. And in that shared experience lies something incredibly powerful. Let me ask you something. Have you ever looked at someone and thought they have it all together? Maybe they exude confidence, seem successful, or radiate happiness. It's natural to admire people who seem unshaken by life's storms. But what you may not see are the battles they fought in silence, the nights they spent wrestling with doubt, and the moments they wondered if they could ever rise again. I used to believe that struggles were a sign of weakness, that admitting I was struggling would make me seem less capable or less worthy. But over time, I realized something profound. Struggles don't make us weaker, they connect us. They remind us that being human means navigating life's highs and lows together. One of the most powerful moments of my life came when I shared my struggles openly with someone for the first time. I was terrified of being judged, but what happened instead changed my perspective forever. They didn't judge me, they related to me. They told me about their own battles, things I never would have guessed they were going through. And suddenly I realized I wasn't alone. Struggles, no matter how isolating they feel, are universal. When we stop hiding from them and start embracing them as a part of our story, we not only find strength for ourselves, but also inspire others to do the same. Think about it, every great story, every person who inspires us has faced adversity. It's the triumph over those struggles that makes their story worth telling. I want you to take a moment to reflect on your own life. Think of a time when you were facing something that seemed impossible to overcome. How did it feel? What thoughts went through your mind? And now consider this: did that struggle teach you something? Did it change you in ways you couldn't see at the time? That's the gift of struggle. It forces us to grow, to adapt, and to become stronger. It teaches us empathy because we've walked through the fire ourselves. It teaches us perseverance because we've learned how to take the next step, even when it's hard. And most importantly, it teaches us that we're never truly alone. So when you face your next challenge, and there will always be another, remember this, struggles don't separate us. They unite us. They remind us that every single one of us is fighting battles we may not speak of, but battles that can ultimately shape us into the best version of ourselves. There are moments in life when it feels like everything is working against us. The weight of failure, disappointment, and heartbreak presses down, and it can seem like there's no way out. But in those very moments, something incredible is happening. Those moments of struggle are often the exact ones that push uncover strengths we never knew we had. When things are at their hardest, that's when we discover what we're truly made of. Looking back, I can pinpoint many times in my life when I thought I was on the verge of collapse. Each time the world seemed to crumble around me and I couldn't see a way forward. There were moments when I questioned my ability to keep going, when every step felt like an uphill battle. But with each struggle, I found a resilience in myself that I didn't know existed. It's easy to look at someone else's success and assume it came effortlessly. We see the end result, the triumph, the victory, the glory, but we rarely see the relentless battles that person fought to get there. We don't see the hours of hard work, the setbacks, or the emotional toll that success took to achieve. We only see the strength, but not the journey that built it. The truth is, it's the challenges that shape us. It's the tough moments that force us to dig deeper, to reach further, and to push beyond what we thought was possible. I realize that strength doesn't come from avoiding the tough stuff, it comes from facing it head on. Each time I encountered a challenge, I had to make a choice to let it defeat me or to rise above it. And every time I chose to rise, even when it felt impossible. I remember a time when I felt utterly broken. The weight of everything, expectations, responsibilities, failures, felt unbearable. But in that moment of despair, I made a decision. I would not let this define me. It was in that decision that I found my strength. I realized that I could control my mindset, my attitude, and my response to what was happening. No matter how dark the path seemed, I could choose to take that next step. Over time, I started to see that every struggle had a purpose. Each hardship pushed me to develop a new skill, learn a new lesson, or build a new habit. In the process, I became stronger, not just physically or emotionally, but mentally. My perspective shifted. Instead of seeing challenges as obstacles, I began to see them as opportunities for growth. Every setback became a lesson in resilience, and every failure was a stepping stone towards something greater. Now, when faced with adversity, I no longer panic or retreat. I approach it with a sense of curiosity and determination. What is this challenge here to teach me? What strengths am I going to discover about myself today? And how will this make me better for the next challenge? Because the truth is, we're always growing, always evolving, and always discovering new strengths we didn't know we had. So when you face your own struggles, whether big or small, remember this: the strength you need is already within you. You don't have to wait for someone to give it to you or for the world to hand you the perfect circumstances. It's there waiting for you to discover it, waiting for you to choose to rise above. You are stronger than you think, and every struggle is just another step in your journey to unlocking your true potential. In the midst of hardship, it can be easy to focus solely on what's wrong, what's missing, or what's unfair. We often find ourselves consumed by the negative aspects of our struggles, wishing they would disappear or hoping for a way out. But I've learned something incredibly powerful over the years. It's not about what's lost during a challenge, but what's gained from it. At one point in my life, I was overwhelmed by everything I didn't have. The pressures of life felt unrelenting and the setbacks seemed endless. But in those darkest moments, something started to shift in me. I began to look at my struggles not as punishments, but as gifts in disguise. Each obstacle was an opportunity to learn, adapt, and grow in ways I couldn't have anticipated. I realized that every moment of pain carried with it a lesson, a new perspective, or a new skill that would serve me later on. Gratitude wasn't something that came naturally at first. In fact, it felt counterintuitive. How could I be grateful for the hardships that were breaking me down? But over time, I started to notice the subtle ways in which I was evolving. The way I responded to challenges shifted. Instead of feeling defeated, I felt a quiet sense of pride. I wasn't just surviving, I was adapting. I was becoming someone stronger, more resilient, and more resourceful. It's easy to focus on the things that aren't going right, the things we don't have, the opportunities we've missed, the goals we've yet to achieve. But when we start to focus on what's working, what we've gained and what we've learned, the world shifts in front of us. I started asking myself, what have I learned from this? What is this struggle trying to teach me? And the answers weren't always immediate, but over time they became clearer. As I reflected on the hardships, I began to realize how they had shaped my character. I learned patience in the face of frustration, resilience when everything seemed uncertain, and perseverance when giving up felt like the easier option. These weren't just random lessons, they were essential tools for navigating the rest of my journey. Gratitude became the lens through which I viewed my challenges. I learned to appreciate not only the triumphs, but also the setbacks. The tough days taught me lessons that no success could have ever provided. They taught me to slow down, to appreciate the small victories, and to remain present even when the road ahead seemed unclear. The power of gratitude, especially in the face of adversity, is profound. It doesn't mean ignoring the pain or pretending that everything is fine when it's not. It means acknowledging that even in the worst of times, there is something to be learned, something to be grateful for. Whether it's the strength you gain from perseverance, the clarity that comes from overcoming doubt, or the compassion you develop for others who are struggling, gratitude shifts your perspective and opens your eyes to the beauty in even the most difficult situations. When you start seeing challenges through this lens, everything changes. You stop focusing solely on what's missing or what's broken and begin to see what's being built. You start to realize that your struggles are not just obstacles to endure, but opportunities to grow into a stronger, more capable version of yourself. So the next time life throws you a curveball, take a moment to pause, reflect, and find gratitude in the lessons it's offering you. You may be surprised by how much strength and wisdom you can uncover along the way. There comes a point in everyone's life when the weight of our struggles forces us to confront something greater, our purpose. It's easy to feel lost when we're caught in the storm, especially when it feels like nothing is going right. But if we take a step back and reflect on the bigger picture, we begin to realize that every hardship serves as a stepping stone towards something greater. Every struggle, no matter how difficult, plays a role in guiding us toward our true purpose. I can remember a time when I felt completely aimless. Nothing I did seemed to matter, and it felt like I was just going through the motions, waiting for something to change. It was during one of the lowest points of my life that I had a revelation. Perhaps the struggles I was facing weren't just random misfortunes. They were trying to lead me somewhere. At first, this idea seemed almost absurd. How could the pain, the failure, the confusion, how could all of that have any meaning? But as I reflected more deeply, I started to understand. Each challenge I encountered made me question what I truly wanted from life, what I was passionate about, and what I was willing to fight for. It became clear that in some way my struggles were guiding me toward a purpose I had yet to uncover. The connection between hardship and purpose is often not immediate. It's easy to think that life should unfold in a clear, linear path. We expect everything to fall into place effortlessly. But the reality is that purpose is often discovered in the midst of the mess. We don't find it by seeking comfort or avoiding discomfort. We find it by stepping into the very things that challenge us, that push us outside our comfort zones. Each setback, each failure taught me something new about myself. I began to see that the moments I thought were the hardest, those moments of deepest struggle, were actually the times I was being pushed closer to what I was meant to do. It's in those moments that we discover the true nature of our strengths and, more importantly, what we're willing to stand for. Purpose isn't something that can be handed to you. It's something you have to discover through your experiences, your challenges, and your growth. The more I faced my struggles head on, the more I learned about my passions, my values, and the impact I wanted to make in the world. The process of struggling, of persevering, slowly unraveled the direction I needed to take. The more I embraced my challenges as part of my personal growth, the more I realized that my purpose wasn't some far-off goal. It was something I was already living out. Each day, through each struggle, I was becoming the person I needed to be to fulfill that purpose. I learned that purpose is not just found in achievements or successes, but in the way we respond to life's obstacles. The lesson I want to share with you is this: the struggles you face today are not just hurdles to overcome, they are shaping you, teaching you, and guiding you toward your greater purpose. If you are patient, if you lean into the discomfort, you will begin to see how your challenges have a meaning you may not yet understand. Every step, no matter how painful, is moving you closer to the person you are meant to become. And when you look back, you'll realize that the journey itself was the purpose all along. When we talk about struggles and challenges, it's easy to get caught up in the immediate discomfort they bring. We often focus on the short-term pain, frustration, or confusion, and it can feel like the end of the world. But what if, instead of seeing struggle as something that breaks us down, we saw it as the very thing that prepares us for something greater? Every challenge you face is not just a roadblock, it's an opportunity to emerge stronger, wiser, and more capable than before. The struggles we go through are shaping us into the people we need to be to fulfill our potential. I've had my fair share of challenges, moments when I felt like I couldn't take another step. Yet looking back, those very struggles were the catalyst for my growth. There were times when I thought I was completely defeated, when everything felt impossible. But it was in those moments that I had to make a choice. Either I could let these struggles define me, or I could allow them to refine me. And each time I chose to let them refine me. It wasn't always easy, and it certainly wasn't quick, but over time I began to see how each struggle served a purpose. What I've realized is that the very things we think are holding us back are often the things that push us forward. Adversity forces us to question our limits, our assumptions, and even our identity. It challenges us to rise above the circumstances that would otherwise keep us stuck. Every time we face a difficult moment, it gives us an opportunity to build resilience, sharpen our skills, and strengthen our character. It's not the easy paths that teach us the most, it's the difficult ones. The most profound lessons are learned through the hardships that force us to adapt and grow. Think about it. How many times have you looked back on a struggle and realized that while it was painful at the time, it actually made you stronger? The strength you gained wasn't just from surviving it, it was from learning how to push through it, how to rise after falling, how to see possibility in the face of uncertainty. That's the power of struggle. It doesn't just leave us with scars, it leaves us with the tools to face future challenges with more confidence and skill. There's a saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. While it may sound like a cliche, it holds a truth that I've come to understand deeply. Our struggles are not signs of failure, but proof of our endurance and our ability to evolve. Each challenge we face equips us with something valuable, a new perspective, a deeper sense of resilience, a more profound understanding of ourselves. It's these lessons that help us navigate the next challenge with greater wisdom and strength. When you look at your life, think of all the moments that once seemed overwhelming. Think of the struggles that once felt like they would break you. Now realize this, you made it through, and in doing so, you became stronger. Not just physically or mentally, but in ways you can't always measure. You've learned to persevere, you've learned to keep going, even when things are tough. And you've learned that there's more to you than you may have ever realized. So, the next time you face a struggle, whether big or small, remember this, it's not here to destroy you, it's here to build you, to refine you, and to prepare you for something greater than you can imagine. Every struggle you face is an opportunity to strengthen yourself, to grow, and to evolve into the person you were always meant to be. The journey is not easy, but it is worth it. Keep moving forward because you are becoming stronger with every step you take.